camp select.
And there you go. As I was saying, I wanted a LeBlanc for Raven, and that's going to be completely denied for MCX, by MCX rather. This could also be a potential setup for Mission in that Zoe pick once more, as it does fit the playstyle of Machi of being a little bit more slow and reliant more on these pickoffs. And now that's going to be Olaf as well. So I assume Machi Esports would really expect more of these early game smash and down kind of jungler picks coming from RSG, possibly forcing Resurgence back on that Trundle pick.
Well, you see here, Resurgence have done a little bit of their homework. Countering that Olaf ban from Machi, they go ahead and get rid of the Elise, so Gemini will not have that here in their counter.
All right, because out of all the junglers, we see the surge of a Rek'Sai pick, which we haven't really seen yet on Epic, which I think really suits the playstyle of Resurgence. So now MCX, what do you pick? A Misfortune for Bruce?
That is a heavy priority towards support if that actually gets locked in.
That's a hover.
That would be weird.
Okay.
That makes sense. Misfortune for lock-in for first pick would make a lot more sense for Machi than Koala's Yuumi, which he usually doesn't play. He rather plays his roaming supports like a Blitzcrank or a Thresh, or try to keep Bruce safe the entire lane phase with a Kench, as Bruce will have the Misfortune to work with.
All right. Meanwhile, the response is a hover. That is true. Set is open for the taking.
Shinsekai had the first victory for Resurgence was on his Shinsekai into a Lucian matchup, no less, and was able to find opportunities to get solo kills. So he's going to have that available for him, and he gets it locked in for the top lane.
Now, what does RSG decide to pick? Trundle is open. Okay, so I like this Gragas pick. It allows you to have disengage. It is a complete sort of contrast from a Trundle pickup, except you have really effective level 3 ganks. Still, you have effective dives as well. That will all depend as well on what Machi Esports decide to pick up for the top lane.
And you also have a lot of disruption already coming out for this team fight of Resurgence. You're going to have this, the set that Shinsekai can go ahead and use the showstopper onto the back line, maybe gets a good flank on Bruce, who's going to be laying down a bullet time. You also have a Gragas ultimate that can do the same and cancel that, so it's nice to see from Resurgence already finding ways to try and disrupt the fight of Machi. In response, though, it is going to be the Sejuani getting locked in.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of plays coming from Gragas's versus Misfortunes there. It is a good tool to just place MFs into an awkward situation, awkward position rather, and that's going to be PK on this Renekton, which have, the Renekton could either banned a lot or has fallen off into priority depending on what the teams like to do, but now we're back into this, first round robin scenario, and this is going to be the understandable matchup to leave Delulu room to roam and have a safe lane for Mexi.
So there we go. For PK, the Renekton locked in. Mexi, like you mentioned, going to have the safe lane with the Ezreal. Now looking toward the second set of bans. Support's still up on the table. And mid lane could be the next chopping block for both of these teams when it comes to their ban priorities, as we'll see what they wish to get rid of. The Yuumi ban actually being drawn out here from Resurgence.
Interesting, because it does fit well in Machi Esports composition. You put the Yuumi in on either the Sejuani or the Renekton, and it's going to be an easy last chapter ult. But on the other hand, for Machi, they are the ones who banned Tom Kench as to deny any sort of take, I suppose, coming from RSG.
Probably much translates now that Machi are likely going to go for maybe, say, a Nautilus or possibly that Thresh, because that's usually what we see as an answer when it comes to this Kench. And RSG, they're going to be the ones, all right, we'll take away the Thresh and see whether or not you wish to keep the Nautilus open.
Now, Machi can actually decide to, never mind, I was about to say, get the Braum instead. Now, what are your options here? Delulu has only played one champion so far, and that's the Braum. Let's see what else fits on his play style.
Looking for something with disruption, maybe a little bit of dive. The Nautilus is an option. Or we could even see the Alistar make an appearance once again. We saw that once out of Kaiwing. This time around, though, it looks like Delulu is going to have the champion in his arsenal as it gets locked in.
That's going to be either our third Alistar for the whole PCS. And Machi Esports, what do you decide to get for your mid lane here? And as well as your support. And I think, well, Rakan is still open. I think Koala has picked Rakan a couple of times, but it will not fit the usual roam that Koala does for mission.
See, there's still that Nautilus, and that looks like it's going to be the play here, is Koala usually just rushes Mobies and then tries to go mid lane to get mission online. So we'll see that once again here for Koala. That usually requires Bruce to be a little bit more safer in lane, but he's often not caught out. Now, what does Machi wish to finish off this composition with?
Resurgence, though, this is looking like a scary dive comp by RSG. And if that is going to be the final pick for mission, this is actually the perfect setup for RSG. It's going to be a very vulnerable lane in the mid lane.
There we go. So Syndra is going to get locked in. Now for Resurgence, though, they wish to pick up as we don't even get to see Riku.
Is it going to be Echo? Is it going to be Kiana? Is it going to be mysteries?
I don't know what happened there. It looks like Koala was a little impatient. I think he was also wondering what was going to get locked in. So now the question becomes, what is the mid lane for Resurgence? It's a good guess overall. I don't know what the last pick's going to be now. We don't even get to see. We don't actually see
know.
it. So
We're
now it's a surprise for
winging.
us as it is for you guys at home. This composition, though, it goes pretty much in line with what we expect from Machi. You have a Nautilus on Koala, get mission on something that can follow up well with CC like a Syndra, and get him rolling, and then it kind of forces whatever Ribbon has to play. He's either, if he tries to pick the Echo, we've seen him play the Echo into Syndra a couple times, and he usually falls behind in lane pretty hard unless he gets roaming. And other than that, like, the LeBlanc's banned out. There's still like the Kiana, but other than that, what's like Raven's champ pool right now?
He has been playing a lot of interesting picks. Like we saw the Rise for the first time coming from Raven, although I'm not very sure if it's going to fit in their comp right now, especially they want to bolster till like the early game and match the Gragas in the jungle with Epic. I think the Echo fits well with, you know, you have a really good level 3 coming from an Echo, and I think it feels like Resurgence has been pushing that constantly in the PCS. And that is also exactly the situation that happened, the pick that happened when they faced AHQ.
Yeah, so we'll see now what the plan is for both of these squads. Still waiting on that last pick. I haven't had it radioed into my headset, so I guess we just get to play a guessing game. We get to see whatever gets locked in. It's a little bit of tension. But early game, we did get to finally see for Epic a bit of a change-up when it comes to what he plans on playing. Also with Shenskai, he's going to be back onto his set, which has had some decent performances when it comes to the lane. So whether or not he's going to be able to repeat that, I think is a good question when it comes up to him against PK.
Yeah, I think that's the best part about a set. You don't exactly have to have, it's not like an Irelia, you have to have items to be more effective. You have a lot of disruption tools available for you at the start of the game, and you have a lot of value coming into the early game that Resurgence does like to play, and I think that's the best part about this composition in general. On the other hand, though, coming from Machi Esports, the combo is there. We've seen how deadly Sejuani's are, especially coming into week 4 of the PCS. She started coming back again, and I'm actually very happy rather, as you see all of the wombo combos with the bullet time and as well as the glacial prison.
Well, for Resurgence, it does sound like they'll have the option to steal those ultimates, as apparently it was supposed to be a Sylas lock-in.
Oh.
So I don't know whether or not the champion select bugged. I'm not too sure exactly what the issue is, but hopefully we'll have it sorted out and we can get into the game. But from what I'm getting, it was apparently supposed to be a Sylas lock-in.
A Sylas lock-in. So this is definitely, I guess, not the first time Raven has played it in the PCS. But it has been 50-50 in general for the whole tournament. As Sylas, a lot of value, got the glacial prison. You have also the bullet time. but I feel like the Glacial Prison would be the most value, and as well as the Nautilus Ultimate for initiation tool, as an initiation tool rather.
Because that's kind of the big thing you're missing from this Resurgence draft. You'd like to see a little bit more CC stacked on top of there. You do have a little bit too with the Alistar lock-in from Delulu. I'm interested to see Delulu on something that now requires him to have to get right into the fight instead of just acting as a bodyguard. You can play an Alistar like that, but I think this is going to really show whether or not Delulu is actually able to make roams in the early game to try and help out his mid lane, especially Raven.
This could be either early game roam from Delulu or everybody else from RSG piling on towards bot lane because that's not a Tom Kench. That's not the Rakan play here for Bruce in the middle in the bot lane rather. So it's going to be a tough lane if Resurgence decides to go for a 4-man dive on towards the AD carry of Machi.
So getting word once again, it was confirmed to be a Sylas pick. Apparently they just weren't able to find him in the champ slide. Apparently his icon was just missing. And to my knowledge, Sylas is enabled. I believe the only champion currently disabled on 10.5 is still Vi from a little bit of a bug with her ultimate. So hopefully we'll get ourselves into the game here quite shortly. It sounds like they just had to remake champ select and we'll get our show underway.
All right, so confirmed Sylas.
Well, we say confirmed, but it could also change technically.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but it sounds like the intention is a Sylas.
If the intention is a Sylas pick. All right. But assuming it is, it does fit similarly to how an Echo sort of plays with what we've seen so far with the synergy with Epic here. And yeah, it works. Strong level 3 as well. Syndra will probably have to either carry cleanse or a little bit more defensive in the mid lane. And at this point, Resurgence, I hope they got their reset, because after seeing them take off against AHQ and then back to the same situation as they've been at the start of the split, so they're just a mystery to me. It's like a switch is there, they just have to turn it on, and they just go boom. Boom in a good way.
They go boom. That's usually not the best thing. That's how
that's the reason why I said good way.
That's how we describe usually tech issues here. Something would boom. But I think it's fair to say that we should just go ahead and take a look toward the standings at the moment, where Resurgence is currently sitting at the bottom of the table. Machi at the top, but like we mentioned earlier, Machi have 2 games in hand. HQ have already beaten Resurgence twice. So if Machi actually end up losing that game, it's actually a game that they lose onto AHQ, who they're trying to catch at the moment.
And with Resurgence having that 1 victory over Liab, they still haven't faced Liab in the second round robin. So I'm looking forward to see that again. It's going to be a spicy rematch because, Liab was on a roll, have been conducting a lot of upsets, and Resurgence just claimed their first victory against Liab, who's at 6th place right now with 5 and 7.
Yeah, for Resurgence, every game matters when you're in this situation. In particular, I think if they lose, I'm trying to think what the cutoff is. If there's already been 4 wins from J-Team, yeah, they're starting to run out of options. Reminder, there's only 4 days left of the PCS, and we're halfway through the first one. There's not a whole lot of time for these teams to make up ground. You pretty much only have next weekend and then the single Saturday of week 6. And then Sunday's been reserved for tiebreakers. So if you're Resurgence, every game you pick up here gives you another shot toward making to the playoffs. If you end up losing any of these games, though, I almost have to say they have to throw in the towel.
Yep. It's been a tough start for RSG on this split. But again, they've been that team that we never really, basing their performance at the first round robin, almost taking a game out of HQ, who has been almost undefeated, who only dropped 1 game in the first round robin, and now they're sitting at 1st place. I feel like there's just a lot of hidden things still coming from Resurgence. It's just that they're having a hard time. Actually, they've already found what fits them in the PCS. Therefore, it's all about that execution now. They have the idea, they know what to do, they know what works for them. And it's basically that time against AHQ that they could not end the game in time.
It's tragic stories. A tragic little history that they were almost able to take down AHQ.
And it's AHQ,
They were
First
so
versus
close.
10th place.
It was first versus 10th. They couldn't make it happen, but they were close. And they'll see whether or not they're able to do the same here now against Machi, who, as you saw, currently second in the standings. So it's a tough their schedule in theory gets easier because they just faced AHQ and they're about to face Machi. So everyone they're going to face now is technically weaker than those two teams. If they're able almost to win against AHQ, I'm just saying, do the math. There is a possibility Resurgence make the run back into playoffs.
It is definitely a possibility. And for Resurgence, again, with all the roster swaps too, coming into the second round robin, it's a 50-50, as you said. It could be like that reset again, establishing synergy with Mexi and Lulu instead of, Dennis, who has been playing most of the split. I think Epic is also have been performing quite well. That fits what Resurgence want to do to get the victory.
Yeah, so it sounds like they are remaking the champ select now finally. It looks like there was another bug. Something was going on there.
Okay.
So. Possibly it might have been also a team misclick. Who knows? We'll be getting into the match here quite shortly, guys. They're just trying to build up some of that tension when it comes to these two teams. Even though on paper you're probably given, the victory already over to Machi.
That's the thing. We thought the same thing against AHQ, and we were completely floored, completely caught off guard. I bet that's the same thing for AHQ. For Machi, though, you come into this match. Do you have the same mindset when Liab went against Resurgence? Do you have the same mindset when AHQ fought Resurgence? That's the thing. That it will all depend on what Machi decides to do against Resurgence here.
So, taking our time. As the Resurgence squad are playing over in Bounty Arena in Singapore. So again, if you guys ever have the opportunity, if you're not, having to isolate yourself, or there's any ordinances like we mentioned, go try and support your local squads. I know they would greatly appreciate it. I know Crow from Resurgence was super excited to actually get the opportunity to coach Resurgence. He was very adamant that he wants to show off the local talent of Singapore, and that's why he put together this roster. And arguably, he's picked up some good pieces here and there. It just seems like they just haven't been able to really click together until a couple games out of it.
Yeah, true. The Singapore players from Resurgence, Shinsekai, Raven, and Mexi, their careers go way, 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 way down around 2012, 2013. And all of these veterans come together in this, Resurgence that represents Singapore as a whole. And combined with, Epic, we've played at the LPL Academy before, and you have Dululu with the ECS experience. You have two different things, two different play styles that came from different regions, and you combine that with the Singapore styles of things. And overall, basically LST. And that's it for Resurgence. Again, quite a tough start for them. We'll see how they do in this upcoming match for Machi. Because Machi, they lost against Alpha, HQ, and Talon. So everything was practically the slow game. But it's the complete opposite for Resurgence. You kind of see that Machi is being a little bit more proactive now coming into this second round robin. And I feel like it's a teeny tiny window that Resurgence can take advantage of. As, Machi coming from, former LMS. Sometimes old habits never die, especially if it has been working recently for you.
Yeah, we've seen some of those playstyles leak back into the performances here of Machi. Machi, though, they've kind of picked up the pace when it comes to some of their games, so hopefully we'll get things underway here in a quick second. Sounds like we're just waiting on one or two champ selects. Apparently we're now into the next one here, as we'll just take a look here. Kwa looking to maybe days off. Oh, no, wait a sec. Oh, okay.
He looks above.
Oh no. Okay. I didn't want you to go to sleep. All right. Maybe someone maybe turned off the lighting in that studio. I'm not sure what happened.
Darkness, basically.
Yeah. Please no Nocturnes. The Nocturnes we've seen in the PCS have been a little disappointing.
It is the weirdest thing because we saw Nocturne up top first before Nocturne jungle too. So the PCS have been very interesting in these picks so far. And it's like, Where did the Varus mid go? Like, where did it go? It was just only from yesterday? Where did the set supports go? Is that only a special thing?
Don't show me set support again, please. I'm asking for no set support. Please, we saw it like, what, 2-3 times yesterday. It never works out, Riku. But what I can tell you, Riku, is Silas was finally able to be locked in. And with that, we're going to go ahead and load on into the Rift. Machi taking on Resurgence. Thanks for waiting with us, guys, as we start things off here on Resurgence's climb back to the top of the standings. Or will Machi look to shut them down in their tracks here and now?
Let's go, Resurgence. Having to win. They need every single win, and this is one of these matches that will be very tough. Second place, Machi Esports.
Load on into the Rift. The wildlife was able to eat the grass that grew as we waited for Champ Select to start up, so they kept the the grass at the proper level. Good maintain of lawn care coming up.
Lawn care for the Rift.
Real question, who cleans up Summoner's Rift?
The minions. That's what they do. After
Really?
you kill them, they have to go back out and
So
clean
they
the Rift.
respawn and they have to pick up their dead bodies?
That is dark.
Well, you're
That
the one
is
who said
dark.
they clean up the Rift. I guess they kind of just evaporate into gold.
I was thinking just weeding out the overgrowing trees and the grass, but I didn't actually think about dead bodies, Opal.
I guess they just turn into gold. So they just have to they have to get brooms and just push all the gold into a corner. Or maybe they push it off the side of the cliff up in top lane.
Oh, and there's just a big pile of gold. Oh wait, level 1.
Right, come on. Look at this Raven. Ooh, sidestepping. Happy feet. He's still taking a decent chunk of damage. Likely expect him to maybe go back. Actually, he can't. He ended up taking that trade right as the minions were about to crash in mid lane, so he's going to be, down a corrupting pot or two. Not end of the world.
Definitely not end of the world, as we've seen this matchup before, especially without around level 1. You're going to get bullied by the spears, so you have to position well out of the minions' way. Epic here going to be starting on blue. Meanwhile, it is the usual clear that we saw in a previous game for blue side, rather, as getting the red moving towards your blue area.
We also see here for Epic, he's going to be rocking the Predator Gragas. Was it Gengar that took the Dark Harvest Gragas?
It was Cat Jug that took the
it's
Dark
Cat,
Harvest.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, it was one of the really aggressive junglers. I don't remember it being Gengar. I don't remember Epic, because that was still, I think that was week 1 or 2 we saw the Dark Harvest.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
Other than that, though, Epic, no real vision on either side of the map, but you do see Mission went up to the war with the Raptors. They want to keep track of where Epic is on the map, also putting it down into the river, so that gives Gemini full knowledge of possibly where Epic's going to go. Raven, though, in mid lane, going down low, but it might be all a bait, and you saw Epic was able to sneak around perfectly. Mission very far forward in the lane. Epic looking for first blood here. We'll see whether or not Mission can avoid this, as he's going to get the Scout of the Week immediately as first blood in mid lane there for Epic.
Very clean by Resurgence, getting first blood. This is the exact situation that happened before, where Resurgence getting that first blood, teleport, coming from Mission here.
Mission, here's Gemini. Raven's pretty low, but in they go. Trying to get that stun immediately over onto Epic. It's going to be the Scatter Week into the toss there. Orb's not able to do enough damage. Mission's kind of stuck in the minion wave, though, as that's going to be another hit from the barrel. Epic not able to finish off the kill, as Mission going very low.
That was 5 caster minions getting aggro, a Mission getting aggro from those minions right there. That was a little bit too close, but this is just very, very clean coming from Epic and as well as Raven, allowing that extend over that lane and therefore putting Mission in a tight spot. He actually carried teleport this time around, so no cleanse at this point of the match as
See, Raven there in mid lane was just a little sad. And in the end, Mission still has double his CS, by the way.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
actually a bit, even though he's died, he's been able to just zone out Raven, which has happened very often in the matchups we've seen with Raven when he takes a melee into a mage, like the Echo. Oftentimes he gets put far behind. It requires him to roam, but we already saw Mission is the one that's really trying to force out this lane.
I think it's a an interesting exchange for RSG. You'd rather have, you know, Mission having to extend some more. You see Mission still holding on towards that flash, and therefore PK trading with Shinsekai. And yeah, as I was saying in the mid lane, I think it's an interesting trade-off. You let Syndra. Okay, I don't know what's real now.
Yeah, I'm about to say, no, PK just finds a solo kill on Shinsekai as, yeah, Haymaker Shield just gets broken. That's just no respect coming out from Shinsekai.
From trade to actual intention to kill Shinsekai, that's what happened. The play was supposedly bait, just bait. But the problem is, Epic was just too far, and PK, especially once you complete level 3, it's going to be difficult.
So Raven here, still in that mid lane. But PK getting the first kill in his lane. A great start for Renekton. Absolutely loves it. Shinsekai, on the other hand, a lot of aggression. We've seen two sides of the coin of Shinsekai. We have seen him play very passively in the lane, rely primarily on his jungle to try and make something happen. Unfortunately, with Resurgence, the jungle trying to make something happen has rarely actually worked out in their favor. So Shinsekai trying to go really aggressive, but he usually gets punished. And he's been outclassed in a lot of the 1v1 matchups.
He has been indeed outclassed, and it's more of him transitioning well to the team fights, and that's how he is definitely felt. Meanwhile, PK laying down the deep vision to spot out where Epic is going to be. No Krugs is just about to spawn. He's just actually here at the bottom side of the map. Good deny as well from a sneaky take by Gemini here on the first Drake. So that is going to be a small victory for RSG.
I wanted to see this, though, from Delulu. Already looking for a roam possibly into the mid lane. Actually going really aggressive for this vision coverage. He is going to get spotted out by Gemini. So Resurgence now. Giveaway that the cow has made his way up toward the top side of the map. Maybe looking to try and get some pressure toward mid lane, as once again Raven trying to advance. Koala's already answered this roam, though, as he's already appeared in mid lane.
I like the bait. I like the bait coming from Delulu there. Walking back and forth near that brush. And immediately Gemini turned on the sweeper and found nothing in that area. So that was actually pretty interesting coming from Delulu. Epic going to be spotted out as well here by PK, who laid down the ward here as well. He's a little bit advanced, but he's aware of the situation.
So with that knowledge, PK doesn't really have to keep pushing on in. Some pings also coming out, so Epic getting tracked into his jungle. Meanwhile, Koala, with this knowledge, can go up into the bottom side of the jungle and go ahead and get a quick control ward down and try and track Epic further and keep the rest of Machi safe.
We'll see if that's going to get spotted out as we see Epic moving towards that blue area. Let's see if that ward gets a lot of value. That does give away his position, though. A Scuttler will be secured by PK here. And so far, we haven't seen the gank at bot side that we were expecting here for RSG. Then again, Mexi here on the Ezreal.
He's starting to get outclassed here in mid lane. Bruce getting a little too aggressive. He ends up tanking a decent turret shot or two. So that's a little nice trade in our Resurgence's favor. As Bullet Time is just going to come out to clear the wave, that's going to allow Bruce to go back, because as you can see, he was up 20 CS, so he's got a lot of spare gold in his pocket. Raven going to go ahead and pick up his blue buff, though. And that's going to force Mission to have to back up toward top side, as Gemini is looking for the Rift Herald.
Rift Herald, as Gemini will have zero contest whatsoever. Again, this is the usual trade that we see between junglers at the early game. They'd rather have, especially blue side here, we'll have that Rift Herald, and red side will have that dragon for themselves. Now the question is, where do they want to invest this Rift Herald? Do they want at top side to unleash PK? I think that would be the best situation to unleash PK already. He has that one kill in his pocket. But Resurgence has a lot of river wards, so they do keep track on where Gemini decides to rotate.
Ooh, PK, he's rushing a Bork instead of a Black Cleaver that we usually see coming out of the Renekton's here in the PCS. The Bork has come up a decent amount, actually. We saw Kaigu trying to build it on the RL. again, a little on the if and or. In the 1v1, he's going to be able to shred apart Shinsekai quite well, but you usually take the Black Cleaver if you want to try and impact the rest of the map with your team fights. Nonetheless, though, the gold advantage in favor of Machi by 1,000 just alone off the CS advantages.
I think it's one of those pickups. I think it has become popular now for Renekton, or mainly the 1v1 duelist here, because of that buff towards the melee pickups.
Hey, Shelly. There you go. Like you mentioned, PK is going to get unlocked from this top lane. It'll allow him to go elsewhere on the map. As Shelly takes a chunk down, but not able to fully finish off the tower just yet.
Well, tower is fine, as that's just one more left, as Koala will stick around here, and Gemini as well. Epic is nearby, though. This could be not gonna happen. Rather, Shinsekai will just remove that vision over there by Machi Esports. Again, PK is gonna be very, very scary later on. We've seen how Renektons have just popped off in these mid-game team fights, and RSG has to be prepared for that.
Oh, you can see, though, PK is just being ruthless here. He's trying to deny as much farm as possible. So that's going to set back the set a little more, as Shinsekai also looking to build a Bork. Well, the Bork is all right, actually, on set. So it's just like, all right, you're building one, I'll build one. That seems to be the logic here. But other than that, we wanted to see early aggression come out on this Gragas. We wanted to see Epic try and make an impact somewhere on the map. So far, it has been dead quiet ever since that first gank in mid lane. Here we go, though. Delulu wants to come and join in on to the Warth party. Here comes Koala, though. It's going to be the depth charge used immediately. Glacial Prison is going to be comboed, and Raven goes down low. True Shot Barrage not able to find its target. Epic over towards the side, and Raven will be able to find the kill here as Resurgence find their second kill of the game. PK, though, looking for a roam down. Mission gets taken down low. Oh, unfortunately, the casket not able to find the target completely. Epic jumps back. He gets stunned up. Also, Scatter the Weak. PK has finally roamed down, and he finds himself the kill. Shinsekai, though, Showstopper brings back the Renekton, but still, it's just not enough here, as he wasn't underneath the tower. And Machi strike back, too, and are equal to equalize the trade, a 1-for-1.
Mission still survives after being chunked out so low. And that is just going to be an exchange for RSG. I think they will be satisfied with that. The fight actually went well. Let's take a look at that again. It was Raven that initiated the fight. He's actually sitting on that Merc Tread, so there's a little bit of defensive stats going up against Mission. After your first rotation of skills, you basically can just keep diving on towards Mission on that Syndra. But unfortunately, Gemini was nearby and just basically ruined the plan of Resurgence to keep collapsing more onto Mission.
But still, though, the fact that Raven was able to survive as long as he had, and Epic, he was so close! Not able to finish off the kill, though, with the ultimate, and PK finally joined the fight.
PK is going to be huge as he picked up another kill out from Resurgence. Unfortunately, the Showstopper will not be as effective as, again, it wasn't. There's no additional follow-up CC to lock him down in that place.
So after all that, it's now a 2,500 gold lead in favor of Machi, as they were able to pick up the first turret of the game as well. Cloud Drake going to be spawning in less than a minute, so they might decide to apply some pressure down there. Resurgence have already littered the pit, though, with plenty of wards, so they'll have knowledge of this happening. But I was going to say, haven't been seeing a whole lot of proactive play coming out from Epic. He does join in on that fight finally, but considering I have yet to see a Predator be pretty much used, it's still pretty quiet.
Yep, especially that you have selected that set for yourself. Set, as in runes. Now, though, there's the Predator.
Now the Predator's finally popped. Epic might be hearing our comms here, as seems as he finally wishes to actually play here. Epic, no! That was disaster! He ends up using the casket. Raven comes in to finish off the kill. Oh, they at least find it. In comes the Glacial Prison, though. Raven is going to get slowed, and Gemini is able to find the kill. Here comes Mission, though, on the Syndra. Maybe too far forward. Unleashed Power isn't able to find the target completely, as the Ezreal is able to survive. As Resurgence, they fight Scrappy, and they're able to actually take a 2-for-1.
2-for-1, and I was... Okay, just a little bit of bait. As you know, Mexi is actually pretty healthy. PK taking a lot of tower hits.
There we go. PK is able to escape away. Shinsuke, you know what? You're taunting, bud. You are down 20 CS, and that is a fully completed Bork as well as Boots in favor of PK. He does a little bit more damage than you. Let's take another look, though, as I finally asked for Epic to show himself on the map with his Predator, and he does just that.
And the body slam as well. The cast, unfortunately, was not spot on. They did get that kill, though, but at the expense of Raven. This is a nice sidestep, but there's no escape as they're already getting the blunt of the slows in. And this is Mission's potential stun. Great flash in by Mexi. Damage still not going to be enough to burst someone down, especially if you do not initially get the spears in and the scatter the weak stun. The combo and the damage will not be enough to eliminate that Ezreal.
So there we go. Machi, though, on the response of that play. Get themselves set up for their first dragon. They're going to get a bit extra cooldown reduction. We're going to have the Infernal Soul join us for the game.
It's going to be a trade-off of objectives here for RSG. They will gladly take that as the first one has already been acquired by Machi. But now they're going to be exchanging vision control here. RSG, actually I thought they were going to establish vision over that blue side, but it seems to me Machi has a ton to go for on that area over there. There's still the 3 outer towers surviving, and now Bruce knocking on this inner.
Yeah, Bruce getting himself more gold from that bot lane after taking down the tower. Mexi's forced to go mid to try and continue his scaling. He's still stacking up his tier. Has the Sheen, so he'll be looking toward likely his Trinity. Epic as well. Has his jungle item complete and his upgraded boots, so we'll have that available to him. You're starting to see a lot of items come online.
A lot of items as Mexi will still most likely wait for that second item power spike. Bruce, though, will still be able to impact the fight with bullet times for sure, as there's a lot of melee in the side of RSG. Therefore, it is easier to land a high impactful bullet time against this composition. Although you will be open to several threats, as you will be a sitting duck if you activate bullet time. You've got Shinsekai who's ready to be in your face. You've got Epic's Cask to disrupt you and stop that, as well as Jalul here with a knockoff. So in terms of how to counter the backline of Machi Esports, I think RSG has a lot of options.
But you know, time could possibly start closing in here as Machi. Epic, he's caught out. Shinsekai, unfortunately, he has to burn his flash to get to safety, and that's just not having any vision actually on the side of Resurgence. Seems to be the common trend when it comes to the red side here. A lot of teams not respecting blue side, and now, there we go. Delulu wanted to jump in, gets Bruce exhausted. Mexi a little far forward. Raven's going to come over the wall, steals away the ultimate from the Sejuani, but decides not to use it as PK is waiting in the wings, looking for a possible flank here.
Oh, they spot out PK.
Raven gets back to safety, but no, he's going to get ulted immediately by the Sejuani ultimate. He just stole, and Machi are able to find themselves a pick.
We've talked about vision. We've talked about how this could be potentially the weakness of either red side or probably, you know, the former LSP squads in general. And that was just an unfortunate setup because Mexi, you know, Bruce had exhausted, but they tried to reposition. Oh dear.
A couple of missed skill shots there end up costing them, and then PK with a flank forces Raven to have to make a quick mistake.
And this is exactly why that happened. No, there's not a lot of vision to work with, and as PK progresses through this fight, he will keep looking for these flanks. He will keep looking for either the teleport plays or punish teams that don't have a lot of vision around the area. Just casually walk around and be boom, surprise. I'm right behind you.
Well, Shinsekai going to be pushing him in the lane. He's now down the full item compared to PK as he finishes off that Black Cleaver. With that, it's still about a 4,000 gold lead here for Machi Esports for Resurgence. We've seen them breathe new life into this squad with some recent performances, but we're starting to see a bit of half and half in this game. We're seeing proactive plays, but we're seeing still those same old mistakes that we've seen from the team before.
But right now, at least Machi has been playing this a lot more slower. Therefore, at least they could wait for the spike of Mexi, which is now, with the Trinity Force completed and a fully stacked Manamune. But because Machi Esports has complete control over the jungle, it's all up to RSG to try and match the pace. And now, what do they get after this? What does RSG do at the other side of the map?
They're going to try and maybe go for a play here on Mission, as you can see, but instead opt to just drop that Rift Herald they were able to secure. But, yeah, guys, bot lane's getting pushed in here. They have 3 members at least on the side of Resurgence to try and respond, but midsection of the map is just in control of Machi. And that Rift Herald, unfortunately, Shelly isn't going to get escorted to the next tower, and that's going to be a Syndra that's going to be able to easily just take her down.
Not a lot of value coming from this Rift Herald. At least they do open that top. It was quite low already to begin with. I'm going to get that eye out. Next, Dragon's about to spawn. And with that, Machi Esports do have full control over that. RSG, the waves are not shoved. The waves are shoved in the opposite direction, or towards them rather, and therefore not a lot of space to work with here in for RSG.
With that, Machi get themselves their Infernal, get a little bit extra damage into their kits, start stacking up toward that Infernal Soul.
The thing about RSG, Machi Esports is actually really slowing this game down. Really, really. It's so different from the situation we've seen before, and where teams are more comfortable pushing against Resurgence once they have a little bit of lead, even if it's like a 2K, 3K gold lead. Especially now that we see Bruce pick up the Infinity Edge.
Yeah, considering maybe Machi have seen, you know, maybe getting a little too confident can end up costing you. And might as well just play this by the book that they wish to play by. Currently sit 9-3 when it comes to their record, and they need this game to help catch up to AHQ to try and force a tiebreaker for first place and try and get better seeding into the playoffs. Resurgence, this is pretty much life or death when it comes to every game they play. Raven going to go ahead and steal away the depth charge. Here comes the rest, though, of Machi. Bullet time is going to go in. Epic, though, able to interrupt immediately. True Shot Barrage was there, but meanwhile, Epic now caught over toward the side of the pit. He's going to get taken on down. Bruce gets the kill. Shinsekai, though, with a showstopper into the face breaker. Able to find 2 members, but he will trade back his life immediately. It's a double kill, though, going either way to both AD carries. Gemini able to avoid the chains from Raven, but Resurgence are able to stand strong, even being down by 4,000 gold.
Raven wants more!
Wants the Proto Belt in underneath the tower, gets a decent amount of damage. Koala is able to just sneak away. Raven now noticing this. Dululu, is he looking for it? No, he's not going to go over the wall. He has the flash, but he decides not to try and go for the play, as Resurgence are able to keep even 2-2.
It's like one of those things where you wish you had Hex Flash. But anyway, Koala here, actually Delulu spots out the aggressive Koala here, trying to probably spot out a ward. This is actually a really nice flash, but the body slam flash coming from Epic interrupts the bullet time over that funnel. Just denies a lot of damage output from Machi Esports, as Epic kept the rest of the squad from Machi busy. That's a huge slam coming from Shinsekai. Massive setup. Mexi's still pretty healthy. Flashes in, Arcane shifts out to danger, repositions, and that is the perfect fight for RSG.
And there are such low health bars that Mexi could have picked up more, but that's going to help bring this Ezreal fully online into the mid game. Now has finished off his tier item, starting to get his Bork. We'll have his 3rd item quite shortly. You saw now, Resurgence, not afraid to take a fight when they are down by 4,000 gold, when they think they have the opportunity to take it. And honestly, if you're going even when you're this far behind, that's considered a small victory.
It is indeed a small victory for RSG that they will gladly take that rather. Meanwhile, we see Morello already. Actually, this is not exactly the mission we see usually in Machi games. You know, 0-3-2 on the Syndra. Picking up that Morello, of course, is going to be a threat towards Raven there on the Sylas. Again, as the game progresses, you're going to get a lot of thick shields coming from Raven. and therefore just basically out-trading you once he dives into the fight. I mean, you do have that Syndra. You have a couple of anti-heal, at least, for you on against Raven here. But PK is still going to be huge if he gets access towards that backline.
Yeah, Raven also just finishing off his Lich Bane, so he's going to add a little bit of extra damage. The Lulu getting caught out here. Might need to be careful. Hook. Ooh! Koala just missing the Lulu there as Epic is forced to use his ultimate to keep his Alistar safe.
Meanwhile, a lot of vision covered by Machi Esports for a potential flank if RSG presses forward, if they find a nice initiation coming from them. Well, we see PK though on the side lanes pushing already, seeing a lot of rewarding process. Raven will travel back nearby in case something happens.
I saw Gemini. He was thinking of maybe going over the wall there, going for the engage. Had his ultimate available, but they decided not to. Machi instead going to try and get the vision down toward the Dragon Pit area, and they got 30 seconds on Infernal.
30 seconds. What does RSG do? They do want to take advantage of Mexi's spike right now, most especially. You saw him really take off 301 right now. And you're right, Lich Bane pickup coming from Raven as well, which means it's going to deal extra amount of damage for sure once you chain the skills, enter the fight in your auto.
Meanwhile, we have Mission building the Forbidden Book. Actually, instead of going for full burst, yeah, he went for the Morellos. Opting in for just the raw AP, I guess, instead of going for that burst.
Could be also against Raven, as he's been very, very annoying with all the heals, and not an Executioner's Calling Insight, therefore relegated that to Mission's job.
Might be the plan here. Oh, here we go. RSG, they're able to find themselves the play as now Delulu leaded the charge. But instantly, it's going to be Mexi getting bursted down. Bruce is able to lay down the bullet time. And the target selection from Resurgence, unfortunately, is just not there. As even though they got the jump, they lose 3 members for the price of 1.
That was just a whole new surprise coming from Resurgence. It's just that Mexi gets bursted down immediately, and Resurgence had to suffer from that, and Machi will get a free Baron.
And it looks like the perfect opportunity for Resurgence, but again, deciding not to go all onto the same player. They end up getting just destroyed. Let's go ahead and take another look.
This was a good pylon, so Delulu gets that on Bruce, that knock-up on Bruce, except that Mission had the perfect angle to land a full combo from the Syndra. You don't have your AD carry anymore, therefore it's time to retreat. Machi Esports just basically collapsed upon RSG. Resurgence does get an exchange kill though, but at the cost of Baron. That's a lot.
Yeah, 7,000 gold lead now in favor of Machi. Can look to start sieging in toward the tower, so this guy's just going to pick up red while he still can. But unfortunately, you can see a decent amount of vision coming out from Machi as they push in, trying to isolate where Resurgence can go. That tower will literally go down with a quick flick from the minion. And now Resurgence having to defend their base here at 28 minutes as Epic at least trying to get some vision down onto these objectives, but there's nothing here to take. Baron, a Dragon doesn't spawn for another 3 minutes. Top lane though, let's see. PK might be caught out toward the side. Still has so much damage coming down on to Raven, but he's able to get to safety. Meanwhile, counter engaged. Sensakai goes into the Haymaker. He gets stunned. He gets taken down, and Machi can look to siege in here onto the inhibitor tower.
That was interesting because the moment that I believe they realized that Epic was missing, that was the time they pulled the trigger. I actually want to know who started that fight first, but RSG had the numbers disadvantage, so I assume it was Machi that wanted to start that fight. And now Baron, inhibitor towers falling down, inhibitors even. 25 seconds on the clock for Shinsekai to come back online.
Unfortunately for Resurgence, it looked like they found some confidence, but Delulu leading that charge, at least on the Alistar, uses his ultimate to try and soak up some damage. Machi come in and look to absolutely shatter this, looking to dash Resurgence's hopes of making it into playoffs as they look to claim first place on their own. Bullet time going to come out. Delulu is just shredded to just beef at this point. And like that, Machi, they look to close out. They want to pad the KDAs, though, while they're at it. Mexi, though, looks to try and hold on to while he can. Mission puts him down, though, immediately. And PK able to get back all his health,
Raven
taking down Shinsekai. Raven may still be alive. The rest of the team, though, is going to fall. It's a double kill for Mission, and it's Machi taking home the game.
What a game coming from Machi Esports. Complete control. I mean, it didn't look like the usual Machi versus Resurgence game where they just piled on over RSG. It looked like a slower game to me, and they'll take that for sure.
No, to take it. Resurgence, though, good highlights here and there. Considering we come back from a team that at the beginning of the split literally did nothing in a lot of the games. We didn't really see anything. So to see Epic at least trying to go for plays, seeing Delulu trying to engage on the Alistar, it's just small mistakes that end up costing these fights. Not having the right target selection, not knowing where the other carry is. Little did they know there was a Syndra right beside their Ezreal, and it was an unleashed power, and it's like...
One-hit delete.
Hello. Hello, counterplay. Nothing you can really do there.
And that's the thing, because I am not very sure if you can really fully bank on Raven here in the mid lane, especially not... He always likes these in-your-face melee mid laners rather than more of a control mage, so there's not a lot of setup for Mexi in the Ezreal.
No, unfortunately, and there's a couple times where Mexi also completely fanned on some of his skill shots that if he was able to hit it, maybe a different story there for Resurgence. Let's go ahead, though, and take a look at what looked to be the best opportunity for Resurgence, but it still got turned around.
This is perfect. Mission had zero threat. There was literally no one bothering Mission at all, so that was the perfect setup for an unleashed power, and then just running away after that even.
Yeah, unfortunately there, Mexi ended up arcane shifting into the fight. It's like Vayne tumbling into the fight. You never want to see it.
Never want to see it at all. They do have an exchange skill after that, but it was just too late. This was Mission and a 0-3-2. Usually not the KDA we see on a leading Machi. So that was sort of what's going on there. That's something good that happened for Resurgence. Unfortunately, PK, on the other hand, was that additional threat that they had to worry about.
Yeah, PK getting ahead so early on in the game, it was unfortunately Shinsekai was just there for the showstopper, which he had a couple good ones during some team fights. Up in that top lane brawl that they had in the Tribe Rush, looked good in favor of Resurgence, considering they were down by almost 6,000 gold. But other than that, PK was able to pretty much dominate the lane and really caused Shinsekai to not have much of an impact when it came outside of his lane.
I think it all started as well with the early Repel take and just funneling most of the gold. It spread out to, to Sejuani and Renekton, but at the end of the day, you had little to bank with. You had Mexi, who had that 2-item power spike, but in the end, you already had the lead coming from the top side of the map and as well as the bottom side as well. I was expecting more ganks actually coming from Epic here on the Gragas. I expected heavy dives. But I think it's due to the fact that Mission just had priority, therefore it was hard for Raven to join in the dives.
Yeah, unfortunately there too, and like we mentioned, Epic, there was a couple of gank opportunities, but like once he got his boots, we didn't see anything from that 3 to 10 minute mark. He had a good path at that early gank that they were able to get and get the kill on Mission. But outside of that, we didn't see anything in the early game. We still need to see that from Resurgence if we want to turn it around. MVP though, it's going to go on over to PK in the top lane, Renekton.
Nicely done, PK. I thought, we were going to see more Shinsekai on the set. But it's the Renekton that shined once more here, as the early to mid game was just deadly for this Renekton. Everybody, once he just activates his ult, everybody just runs away. Scram.
Oh, and he went straight into the Bork and then out into the Black Cleaver. Again, the Bork also has had some adjustments to its stats and its passive, so it's actually really nice now on melees. It does an extra chunk of % health damage, so being Renekton, he has that on hit, so it just rips apart the lane once he gets ahead, and it's really hard to recover from. And he also had some really good flanks that ended up helping Machi close out the gap completely.
Well, I thought you would have been worried about, Mission or the bottom side of the map, but nope. It's PK here ruining RSG's day this time around.
Yeah, as far as like Bruce for Machi, we'd usually say he's going to be amazing during the fights, but we go all the way back to the Champions Select where we said there was so much disruption that he wasn't necessarily able to shine on the Misfortune. He was able to get an ult off or two, but there's a lot of times where you saw Resurgence's focus was, let's just take down the Misfortune. That is going to be the play.
There were so many interesting fights for Resurgence that were actually in their favor. It's just that they couldn't followed through because of just so many towers already down for them.
Well, with that, we're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, though, it's going to be J-Team taking on Talon. Don't go anywhere.